Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. One of the big tournaments of the off-season has concluded. LEV walk away with a dominant championship victory, but Cloud9 emphatically defeated by Furia in their rematch in the tournament. Is the honeymoon period already over for this Cloud9 team, with them not looking particularly impressive in this stint at all? It was a similar time to last season when the role issues started to be emerging as a possibility for change. Could something similar happen to C9? Do they need change to reach the next level, given the fact that Furia and LEV will be competitors for them next season in the Americas League? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, happy birthday to Mystic for yesterday, but I also wanted to mention this kind of crazy thing that was spotted here in, well, I guess the Japanese Valorant scene on what you can do with the KO ultimate if you happen to find yourself in an ISO ultimate situation. So if you get brought into a 1 versus 1 and, well, you go down into the KO revive situation, you actually cannot eliminate this guy right now. And the problem with this is, if you guys know about the ISO ultimate, after 15 seconds roughly in the ultimate, if neither player is, if neither player has been killed, then both people die. So if you can't kill the guy in the ISO ultimate, of course, ISO himself has a slight advantage with the 2 barriers compared to the 1. And if you can't get the kill, then it doesn't matter, because if you go down to the KO revive situation, he can't kill you, and therefore both players die at the end of the ultimate. So you take him down as well, which is kind of quirky and kind of a wild thing that Riot might need to think about, or is maybe perfectly valid and reasonable given the circumstances. There's also been some ridiculous clips coming out of tournaments over the last few days. For example, the crazy Raccoon Cup that was going on. We'd have a look at this. We got the operator overkill to the tour de force on the chamber. Like, yeah, that is just pure entertainment, to be honest. I've not really seen this be used all that often before, when you have, people getting kills with the operator and then immediately the chamber tour de force, but it worked well for this guy. And Paper Rex also played in the tournament yesterday. Well, just they played some various show matches, really, in one of these cups. But have a look at this composition. So, I mean, Paper Rex, man, what a fun team to watch. You can understand why they're Tenz's favorite team and everything. And to be fair, the team they played against were also using some interesting compositions. Like, we had Jet, Raze, and Chamber on this team. But Paper X were running, of course, the new ISO character, Yoru, Neon, Raze, and Raider. So, yeah, that's their 5 duelist composition. And have a look how they used it to effect here. Like, this is the most normal Paper X pistol round, where they come flying out mid, all 5 out mid, all the kills happen within about 3 seconds. It ends up in a 1 versus 1 situation here, actually, where, who is this on the Raze, actually, that comes in? Yeah, Mindfreak comes in for the knife on the Raze. I'll just play that again, because, like, this is Valorant, baby. This is how Paper X play Valorant. You got to feel bad for the observers when they've got to deal with stuff like this, and Paper X just go completely wild, and look, they won the round, so what can you say at the end of the day? And, I mean, look at the knife to close it out. Ridiculous stuff. They were also using a similar composition in another match they played when something this time was on the Jet. So this time it was Jet, Reyna, ISO, Raze, and Neon. So, I mean, like, what is going on here? But this is what they wanted to use. No, so no Yoru this time, but instead on the Jet. And they won this one 13-5. So, yeah, Paper X having a good time. This is what they do. But we've got to talk about the Superdome tournament that concluded yesterday in Colombia. Here we've got, of course, King from LEV. We've got Oxy on the left-hand side, Vanity on the right-hand side. And again, Vanity, guys, he likes to do this thing where when he beats a team, he waves goodbye to them. And then, well, sometimes they play again against that team and it doesn't go all that well. And maybe, once again, that came back to bite them right here. Oxy is legitimately a top quality player as far as I'm concerned, but the entire Cloud9 team didn't really perform yesterday. They beat Furia early on in the tournament. They came out to play them yesterday. It didn't go so well. Now, their coach did say, today is the last day of our off-season. And this is one thing to look at with Cloud9, that they've played a lot lately. They've been traveling everywhere. They've been, out in Tokyo for the home grounds, back now to Colombia. So all over the place for these show matches and these preseason tournaments. They're pretty much done with it now. And I can imagine that these guys are very tired and, really want to go and, sit back, kick their feet up and relax for a little while, because it's not been easy for them, I'm sure. But as Imi says, we've had 2 very positive events, and now the last one, we have, we're set to try out some new things, and we'll see how it goes. So, he said that they were going to try some new things out in this series against Furia, which they did, but still, the way that they got, the way that business was handled here by Furia was not particularly impressive for Cloud9, especially because, look, I like this Furia team. I think they've got some great talent. They've probably improved from last last year and should be a bit of a force in the Americas League. But if Cloud9 are losing to this team and they got destroyed as they did by Leviathan when they played them in the series a couple of days ago, maybe it's not looking so good for Cloud9. So this was the series they played yesterday against Furia. I expected Cloud9 to probably win this one, make it to the finals for a rematch against LEV, which I expected them to lose, but I thought they might win this series. They didn't though, and despite Oxy on the Neon and on the Jet dropping 33 kills, nobody else really got anything delivered at all. And it's Muzera and, to be honest, Muzera and Havoc, like all of these guys are talented, but Muzera and Havoc especially, when they're playing well, they are seriously impressive to watch. I'm surprised that Muzera spent all this time on the Initiator, didn't he? And now he's back here on the Duelist, just absolutely killing it. And Havoc is on the Sky and on the KO, just delivering good performances. So this wasn't close. Map 1 was basically Oxy trying to carry them to the victory here with 24 frags on the Neon, but they still lost 13-8. And then game 2 was, this was pretty funny from Furia actually, because they went up 12-2 at one point, and then just as maximum disrespect to Cloud9, they call the timeout. You're up 1-0 in the series. You're up 12-2 on the Ascent, about to win the series, and you call the timeout just to pause time and just to take the mic. That's basically what this is about. It's classic bad manners, and you gotta say it's pretty funny from Furia to pull this off against Cloud9 given the circumstances. But C9 go down emphatically. I mean, half one was 10-2. They won the next 3 rounds as well. Wasn't even close. Havoc was 15-7 here on the KO. And was there on the Jet, of course. This was an absolute blowout. And this is a Furia team that got dispatched of emphatically in the finals by Leviathan. So it's not like Furia necessarily are anything crazy. I think they are good. I think they're better than last year. And they've got, definitely with Muzera and Havoc, they've got room for improvement there as well. I think this Furia team can be competitive for the new season. But yeah, to lose in this way for Cloud9 was not massively impressive, especially when, sure, Vanity, he's the IGL. He's not expected to drop crazy numbers, but in a series like this, you've got to need more from somebody, right? And this is what we saw in Tokyo, when really it was Zeppa stepping up to the plate, right? It was Oxy, who is their best player and has been playing very well and will only continue to improve. Very happy with that signing for Cloud9, but they needed Zeppa to turn up, as he did, and Curry, to be fair, to turn up in Tokyo to deliver good results. Whippy did quite well in the first series they played against Furia, but he fell off a little bit this series. Jake hasn't really been impressive for some time. Obviously, he's on the smokes at the moment, but yeah, so I think it's interesting with Jake. That's the player I think that I'm most interested in, because as I say, over the last, couple of weeks, really, since this team has formed, Oxy has shown out, Zeppa played well in Tokyo, Curry did that as well, Vanity had his moments for sure, okay, not so well here, but he had his moments, and Whippy played well in the first match that he landed here in Colombia. Jake hasn't really had any standout moments, and of course, he was brought in last year to replace Ye on the Duelist effectively, and now it's Oxy that's basically running that, and Jake's kind of on the controller, and it hasn't really gone so well for him. So he did comment and say, I think I'm at the most burned out I've ever been, given the fact that I had no break after our season due to tryouts and trials, and these 3 off-season tournaments, going to take a week-long break around Thanksgiving to bounce back and then back to the grind. Sorry to my team. So kind of admitting that he hasn't played well lately. Totally get it from Jake's point of view. There's been a lot of tournaments, a lot of trials. I can understand they will be tired of playing Valorant and will have played a lot and need to take a fair little bit of a break. But still, if you're Cloud9, given what happened last season with everything that happened with Ye and Vanity, right, and the supposed role issues that happened internally, and maybe there were some role issues. Of course, we know that the real reason was money why Ye was let go, but look, maybe there were some internal role issues, but I wouldn't be massively surprised if Cloud9 again look at the situation and think, damn, sure, they had a pretty good tournament in Tokyo where they eventually lost to Fnatic in the finals, and they weren't too far away from winning that tournament with Curry, but then they go to Colombia and they get dispatched pretty heavily by, a couple of different teams. Leviathan were one, they then played Furia in the finals, and this was just a different class, I don't know how good LEV are going to be next year with respect to all of the teams in the Americas, but they've got to be right up there, because this team is so nice, and I'm really happy for Tex as well that he got this opportunity, because it just makes so much sense, and I mean, he's a great player. What a team that these guys have. And as Tech says, 3-0 versus Furia to win the grand finals of Superdome Colombia. So they go in it, they win. Of course, they've got some sort of home support there to some respect. But yeah, what an event. Awesome crowds. The confetti and all this falling down from the ceiling. There's a pretty funny moment as well after this series where I think he dropped like a bit of a TikTok meme or whatever live after the fact. And this is the entire team after their victory. So yeah, this was as dominant as you're really expecting to see. see. 3-0 for Leviathan against a pretty hot Furia team that just came off a nice victory against Cloud9. They got dispatched in this series. 13-9 on Haven, 13-7 on Split, 13-10 eventually on Lotus. So it wasn't like a complete blowout on all of the individual maps, but yeah, very impressive on all accounts here from Leviathan, especially getting over the line when it mattered on that Lotus was pretty impressive after losing the first half 8-4 to bounce back in the way that they did. Furia as well, look at their defensive sides. Haven, they won 2 defensive rounds. Split, they won 3, and then Lotus, they won 2. So 7 defensive rounds over a series is out of what? They probably played like 30 odd, 33, something like that. Defensive rounds to win 7. That's not quite enough. Their attack, though, from Furia was good. So there's room for improvements here, but Leviathan showing that they were by far the best team of the tournament. Aspas as well was difficult to stop in this series, and a very impressive victory from the Leviathan boys. How good will they be going into the new season? Definitely questions, I think, for Cloud9 to answer, because I know that a lot of people will say after this, well, they played with Curry over there in Tokyo, did rather well. Should Curry return? You know, do they want to bring him on as a 6th man? What does that mean for, you know, can Jake bounce back from an underwhelming couple of weeks going forwards? I think there's a lot to think about for Cloud9 over the coming weeks as they take a bit of a break before the start of the new season. I imagine they'll stick it out, but they've got some things to think about, right? Because when the new season begins, you can't afford to start off massively on the back foot as they did last season, and then we're never really able to recover, especially when you know full well Leviathan are better than you right now, and as arguably are Furia. So very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Tranquilidad, viene Leviathan, 40 segundos ahora para que se venga la ejecución por parte de Leviathan. Sabe que pueden cerrar aquí absolutamente todo. Se viene ya Vacino, intenta sacar información del sector de árbol, pero no se encuentra con absolutamente nadie. Viene el movimiento por parte de Vacino, prepara también la paranoia. A ver si puede encontrar aquí a lanza hacia adelante. Terminado perdiendo el intercambio en contra de Khalil. 5 para 4 en este instante. 25 segundos y tienen que tomar una decisión. Comienzan a tocar el sector de B, pero aparece Musera, ¿no? Pero también para poder llevárselo. Havoc, que se hace fuerte.